The parking lot was empty. No familiar cars, just the buzz of a street lamp and the silence I hadn't paid for. I stood under the soft glow of the Haven sign. Brick walls warm with amber light. Inside waited a private room I had reserved 3 weeks ago, family-style dinner for 20. Custom menu. No red wine for Uncle Tom. Vegan options for Aunt Sue. $2.200 total. All from my pocket. My phone screen lit up Friday the 6th of June. 7:02 p.m. The same date Mom texted. Can't wait to see everyone. It'll be so special. I walked in. The hostess gave me a smile I didn't deserve. Are you at the Hayes party? I nodded, confused. She checked her screen. That event was last night. Thursday the 5th of June. Her tone didn't waver. They had cake. Cake. She clicked again, turned her iPad toward me. Pictures. Names on folded cards. 18 seats. Mine wasn't one of them. My throat tightened. I asked her what was left. She went to the back, returned with a plastic container. On the lid scribbled in thick black marker, "We'll save you scraps, Mom." I blinked. Laughed once dry. Then walked out with the box in my hand and my stomach hollow. They had planned this. They had eaten without me, toasted without me, celebrated Jenna's promotion without me. Every time I'd bailed her out $700 for rent. $500 when her car broke down. I remembered that Christmas I got a scarf. Used. No tag. While she unwrapped perfume, headphones, plane tickets to Cabo. I sat in my car for 20 minutes. My hands couldn't grip the wheel. Not from shock, but from clarity. They hadn't forgotten. They had excluded me. Because I no longer served their needs. Because I made them uncomfortable with my independence. Because I stopped being the one who said yes. I stared at the folder in my passenger seat. It wasn't ready yet, but it would be. Receipts. Screenshots. A copy of the police report I never told them about when Jenna opened a credit card using my name. I smiled. Just a flicker. The kind that means asterisk, I'm not playing this game anymore. Asterisk. Tomorrow I'd say goodbye. But first I'd make sure they knew exactly what they were losing. Would you fight back or walk away without a word? Have you ever been left out by the people who claim to love you? Where are you listening from? Share your story below. Subscribe to EN Reddit Story for more true stories about justice, healing, and closure after 40. The house I grew up in always smelled like fabric softener and burnt toast. Mom called it home cooking. Really, it was just the toaster. She never figured out how to fix the dial, and she never cared enough to try. We lived in a beige split level just outside Boise. The neighborhood was quiet, mailboxes, leaned kids rode bikes without helmets, and every front yard had a lawn gnome or a bird bath. Our porch had peeling paint and a wind chime that clinked like someone tapping glass marbles together. Dad hung it there when I was 9. It never made a sound when he left. He didn't leave dramatically. No slamming doors, no bags by the curb. He just stopped coming home. Mom told us he was taking space. Jenna cried. I folded the laundry. We were 8 and 11. After that it was just us. Mom, me, and Jenna. Jenna always needed more time, more patience, more everything. She had tantrums at Target and skipped school dances because her dress wasn't special enough. When she got the flu, Mom stayed home for 3 days. When I had strep, Mom left me with crackers and the remote. But I didn't mind. Or at least I thought I didn't. I filled notebooks with to-do lists, spreadsheets with goals, schedules with color-coded tasks. Control made me feel safe. Being needed made me feel loved. By the time I was 16, I had 2 part-time jobs, one at Dairy Queen, the other answering phones at a dentist's office. Every paycheck went into a shoebox under my bed labeled out. Out of Boise. Out of that house. Out of being the forgotten daughter, Jenna got a car when she turned 17, used but still cute. I took the bus, even on weekends, even when I had to stand in the snow for 20 minutes. Dad started calling again once Jenna hit college. He sent her gas money, care packages, a new laptop. He never asked about me. Not once. Mom said he's trying his best. I said I stopped expecting anything a long time ago. The truth is I didn't stop. I just got better at pretending. I stayed home after high school to save money. Community college during the day. Weddings on the weekends. I started shadowing a local planner, folding napkins, and organizing floral deliveries. I loved it. The order. The beauty. The way every moment had a script. It felt like a world I could control. A world where I mattered. In my mother's house, silence had weight. In event planning, silence was a pause, intentional, elegant. I chose the second. At 27, I moved to Denver with 2 suitcases, $1,200 in savings, and no plan beyond survival. My apartment was above a bakery that opened at 4:00 a.m. Every morning, the scent of rising dough and cinnamon drifted through the vents. It made me feel like life was happening even when mine felt stuck. I found a job assisting a wedding planner named Judith. She wore kitten heels and always carried extra safety pins in her purse. She never yelled. She solved chaos with a whisper and a clipboard. I studied her like a map. By the time I was 30, I launched my own business, Hayes and Company, 3 weddings that first year. Then 6. Then 22. I worked from my couch, then a desk by the window, then finally a small office with exposed brick and a fake fig tree in the corner. I printed business cards, navy with gold script. Lauren Hayes, principal planner. No one in my family ever asked about it. Not even once. I kept sending money home when needed. A few hundred here, a few hundred there, always labeled as just in case or Jenna's in a bind. It became routine, like renewing your license. You don't question it. You just do it. Once I flew home for Christmas. I wrapped everyone's presents with brown craft paper and velvet ribbon. Thoughtful gifts, local teas for Mom, handmade bookmarks for Jenna, a new wallet for Mike. Jenna got AirPods from Dad. Mom got a gold necklace with her initials. I got a box of chocolates that had already been opened. No card, just a sticky note. From all of us. That night I cried in the guest room. Quietly. Into the pillow with the lumpy stuffing and outdated floral print. In the morning I made pancakes for everyone. Like always. It's funny how routine can dull your instincts. How being useful can trick you into thinking you're wanted. I kept showing up. Kept hoping they'd notice the effort. Kept pretending that love was the same as proximity. I even planned Mom's 60th birthday party. Rented a rustic barn, coordinated with her book club friends, made sure every dish was gluten-free. She thanked me once briefly before turning to Jenna and asking, "Should we do something like this for your launch party?" That stung more than I admitted. When Jenna launched her business, some pop-up photography thing, I designed her invites, proofread her pitch deck, even helped build her website. She said, "Thanks, you're such a Virgo." I smiled. But inside I cracked. I was tired of being helpful. Of being a tool. I started noticing how they only called when they needed things. How group chats skipped my name. How I wasn't invited to Sunday brunches if Jenna was in town. Still, I told myself, they're busy. They love you. You're just imagining it. But I wasn't. 3 weeks before the dinner, I sent a group text. "Hey everyone. I made a reservation at the Haven private room, full family menu. Friday the 6th of June at 7 p.m. Can't wait to celebrate together." Only Mom responded. A thumbs up emoji. Then, "Looking forward to it, honey." No one else replied. Still, I confirmed the deposit. Requested place cards. Even asked the chef to switch the salad dressing for Jenna. She hated balsamic. I told myself silence didn't mean rejection. That people were busy. That love didn't always look loud. I printed the menus myself, cream paper, rose gold script. Each one slipped carefully into an envelope with the guest's name in hand lettering. Mine sat at the top of the pile. Lauren. 2 nights before the dinner, I checked the group chat again. Still quiet. But I believed. I needed to believe. That maybe they were planning a surprise. That maybe this time they'd recognize me not as a helper, but as a part of the family. I ironed my navy jumpsuit the night before. Polished my shoes. Painted my nails in soft pink, professional but warm. The morning of the dinner I ordered a cake. Not too sweet, carrot with cream cheese frosting. Family is a choice, the top read in looping white script. I sat at my kitchen counter staring at the cake box. It felt too hopeful. But it was already paid for. That afternoon I packed the folders. Guest list. Invoices. Timeline. Emergency contact cards. My signature in the corner of each sheet. Just in case. I arrived 10 minutes early. Streetlights just beginning to flicker on. The haven glowed like a lantern. I parked. Checked my phone. Date, time, everything matched. But the lot was empty. The sidewalk still. The door already opened once hours before for someone else. Not for me. When the hostess said that event was yesterday, my brain stopped. I thought it was a mistake. That maybe I'd confused the days. But I hadn't. They had celebrated without me. 18 people, place cards. Cake. I asked if my name had been at the table. She said no. Not even one extra chair. Number none. She handed me the leftover food in a plastic box. On the lid, "We'll save you scraps, Mom." I walked back to my car with the box in one hand, my heels clicking too loudly. The sun had dipped below the buildings. The shadows stretched long. I opened the passenger door and set the box down beside me. Stared at it. Scraps. As if that was all I deserved. And still a small part of me hoped. Maybe someone would call, maybe someone would notice. No one did. And in that silence, something inside me changed. That night, I couldn't sleep. I lay in bed with the lights off, but my mind replayed everything: the empty parking lot, the hostess's calm voice, the container in my lap. Scraps. She had said it like it was kindness. I didn't cry. Not then. The tears didn't come because the ache went deeper than sadness. It was something colder. Sharper. I had spent decades trying to belong to people who didn't want to see me. And now there it was, undeniable. No more guessing, no more justifying. They had chosen to exclude me. Fully, deliberately. At 2:17 a.m. I turned on the lamp. My apartment looked untouched, everything still in place from the night before, but it felt unfamiliar. Like I'd returned from a trip and someone had moved everything a half-inch off. I walked to the kitchen, opened the fridge, stared at the cake box. Family is a choice. Those words mocked me now. I threw it away. Frosting stuck to the side of the trash bag, still perfect, untouched. By 4:00 a.m. I had made tea. Then coffee, then more tea. The minutes bled into each other. Morning arrived like it didn't know anything had happened. No missed calls. No texts, not even from Mom. I opened the group chat again. They had changed the name from Family Circle to Just Us. The icon had been updated. A photo of them at the haven smiling. Everyone but me. And then I saw the comment below it, "Jenna. Best night in ages, hide, we should do this every month." I froze. Then slowly scrolled up. Messages I hadn't seen before. Thursday morning. Plans. Confirmations. Can't wait to see everyone tonight. Bringing a bottle of rosé. Jenna, your hair is gonna look amazing. They hadn't removed me from the chat. They just muted me, silenced me. I was still in it, just invisible. Able to watch, not speak. There, but not really. That hurt more than the scraps. More than the cake. More than the empty room. I wasn't even worth deleting. They wanted me quiet. Present only when useful. Like a tool on a shelf. Like a button someone presses when things break. I sat back in my chair and stared out the window. Sunlight hit the tops of the buildings. My hands felt numb. All this time I thought I was keeping the peace. What I was really doing was letting them erase me. By noon I was still in my pajamas. The dishes from the night before sat untouched in the sink. The leftover roasted vegetables I'd prepped for the family meal stayed sealed in glass containers. I didn't open them. I couldn't. I stared at the dining table. The napkins I'd folded still rested beside unused silverware. The candles unlit. Everything was frozen like a stage set after the actors left. I pulled out the chair at the head of the table and sat, where no one had joined me. That's when the numbness began to wear off. The silence wasn't peace anymore, it was proof. Proof that I had spent years being dutiful, generous, available, and still ended up alone. I opened my laptop. Typed a single word into a blank document. Asterisk, asterisk. Receipts. Asterisk, asterisk. Then I got to work. I searched my inbox. Venmo. Zelle, bank transfers, photos of checks, screenshots of messages. Asterisk, asterisk. Can you cover this just for a few days? Asterisk, 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 asterisk. I swear I'll pay you back next week. Asterisk, 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 asterisk. Jenna's really trying, she just needs a little help getting on her feet. There were hundreds. The first payment was from 2015. $160 her traffic ticket. Then $340 for rent. Then $70 for a haircut before her job interview. She didn't get the job. But the requests kept coming. And I kept sending. I totaled it as I went. Sure. Lambe. That number stared back at me. I had given Jenna over $10,000. Not once did she offer to return any of it. Not once did Mom say, "Lauren, are you okay?" Not once did Mike say thank you. They just assumed I could afford it. Because I didn't complain. Because I always had a plan. Because I didn't scream or cry. That afternoon, I printed everything. Receipts, transfers, notes. I made a folder and labeled it asterisk asterisk. For clarity, asterisk asterisk. Then I opened another tab, Denver Police Department Identity Theft Report. I had filed it a year ago. After Jenna used my name to open a credit card and ran it up to $3,200. She cried when I confronted her. Said it was a mistake. Said she meant to tell me. Said she'd fix it. But she never did. I had paid it off quietly, afraid of what a report would do to her record. Afraid of how Mom would react. Afraid that telling the truth would break the family. Now I knew it was already broken. And I wasn't the one who broke it. At 6:40 p.m., I changed clothes. Not because I had somewhere to go, but because I needed to feel like myself again. Like a woman who mattered even in her own apartment. I put on dark jeans, a white button-up, and the watch I only wore to meetings. The one engraved on the back, "You make things happen." Asterisk. A gift to myself when I hit my 5-year business anniversary. No one in my family had ever asked how I built it. I sat by the window with the folder in my lap. The sun dipped low behind the skyline, casting orange streaks across my hardwood floor. I took a breath. Then opened the group chat. Typed slowly. Carefully. Asterisk asterisk. I'll be at Mom's tomorrow at 7 p.m. I have something for you all. Asterisk asterisk. No emoji, no apology, just that. I hit send. Read it again. Then muted the thread. The same way they had muted me. The next morning I woke up before my alarm. Did my hair. Put on a blazer. Sprayed perfume not too floral, just enough to remind me I had presents. I stopped at a coffee shop and ordered 3 pastries. Not for them. For me. 1 to eat now, 2 for later. When I pulled up to Mom's house, the porch light was on. It always was. A relic from when Dad used to work late. Or said he did. I parked behind Mike's SUV. Jenna's car was there too, still dented from that fender bender she never fixed. I walked to the door. Knocked once. No one answered. Then it opened. Marcus. He blinked. Then stepped aside. Didn't say a word. I walked in. Everyone was there. On the couch. At the table. Near the kitchen island. Jenna looked up first. Her face paled. Mom gasped softly. Mike said, "What's this?" I walked to the table and placed the folder down. My voice didn't shake. Asterisk, asterisk. It's everything you took from me. And everything I let you. Asterisk, asterisk. Mike scoffed. You're joking. I looked at him. Asterisk, asterisk number. I'm free now. Asterisk, asterisk. Jenna reached for the folder. Her hand trembled. Mom started to say something, then stopped. The room went quiet. Not awkward, not tense. Just quiet. That's when Marcus stood up. I'll pay my share, he said. His voice low. I should have said something a long time ago. I nodded. Then turned to the door. Didn't wait for a response. Didn't offer one. I walked out with nothing in my hands but everything I needed finally in place. The door closed behind me with a soft click. No one followed. I walked to my car in the dark, the air still warm from the day, but my skin felt cold. Not from fear, from the absence of weight. For the first time in years, I didn't owe them anything. Not an explanation, not a rescue, not even a goodbye. I drove in silence. No music. No podcast, just the hum of the engine and the low thud of my heartbeat. When I reached my apartment, I didn't turn the lights on right away. I stood in the living room, letting the shadows settle around me like fabric. My blazer still on. Shoes still clicking softly against the hardwood. And then it hit me. They hadn't even asked if I was okay. Not one of them. Not even Mom. They looked at the folder like it was an inconvenience. Like I'd brought tension to a room that had always been broken. But Marcus had looked me in the eye. He had known, maybe not the details but the truth behind them. And he said something. He stood up. That meant more than I wanted to admit. I changed into pajamas. Tied my hair back. Poured a glass of wine. Saturday at the kitchen counter and stared at the empty stool across from me. For years I had filled that seat with hope. Imagine anyone seeing me. Choosing me. But that stool had always been empty. I just hadn't allowed myself to admit it. I opened my laptop. The desktop background was a photo from last summer, me standing under fairy lights at an outdoor wedding I'd planned. Hands full of clipboards. Face lit up. I looked happy. But I remembered that night. I had driven home alone. Ordered takeout, fell asleep with my shoes still on. Behind the smiles, I was exhausted. I closed the laptop. Then stood. Walked to the hallway closet. Pulled out an old photo album, one I hadn't touched in years. The cover was leather, cracked at the edges. Inside, childhood birthdays, school recitals, holidays, In almost every photo, I was in the background, holding a plate, pouring drinks, cleaning up. Always helping. Always working. Never centered, never held. I stopped at a photo from my 13th birthday. Jenna had a bigger cake than me, and she wasn't the one turning 13. That memory came back like a sting. She had cried about not getting her favorite frosting, so Mom gave her mine. I took the photo out, held it for a moment, then folded it once neatly and dropped it into the trash. The next morning, I woke up early. Not from rest, but from unrest. That kind where your body rises before your mind decides it's ready. The apartment was quiet. Sunlight crept through the blinds in thin lines across the floor. Dust floated in the air like slow snow. I made coffee. Strong bitter. Poured it into the mug I kept for hard days, a chipped ceramic one that said, "Still standing." Asterisk. I stared at my phone. No calls, no texts, no replies to the message I'd sent the night before. Just silence, which now felt like confirmation. Confirmation that I had stopped being useful and therefore stopped existing in their world. I opened Instagram. Jenna had posted a reel from the dinner. Pans across wine glasses, laughter, close-ups of the cake. Captions asterisk asterisk. Nothing better than family, a 0 number, grateful number, best night asterisk asterisk. I watched it 3 times. No one looked guilty. No one looked like they had excluded someone. It was seamless. Like I had never been part of them to begin with. Then I noticed something else. In the corner of the video, brief but visible, was the stack of menus I had designed. My design, my typography, my logo. She hadn't even removed it. She'd used everything I made, then cut me out. My stomach turned. I opened the folder again. Double-checked the files. Everything was there, proof of the money, the credit card report, screenshots of her messages. But something still felt unfinished. I needed more than receipts. I needed perspective. I walked to my bedroom closet and pulled out a dusty shoebox. Inside were old journals, years of entries written late at night when I couldn't sleep. I flipped through one marked asterisk, asterisk 2019. Asterisk, asterisk. Inside notes about Jenna's boyfriend, drama, Mom's guilt trips, Dad forgetting my birthday, and scattered between them lists of goals I made for myself. Asterisk, asterisk. Be more understanding. Help when you can. Don't make people uncomfortable with your success. Asterisk, asterisk. That one stopped me. Why had I written that? I stared at the sentence. It wasn't a goal. It was a commandment I had absorbed without question. I had spent years minimizing myself, dimming my own light, so they wouldn't feel insecure, so I wouldn't be too much. But all it did was make me invisible. I closed the journal, put it back in the box, then stood in front of the mirror. I looked tired, yes, but also clear. I whispered aloud, asterisk, asterisk. You don't have to earn your place anymore. Asterisk, asterisk. And I meant it. That afternoon, I went for a walk. Not far, just around the block. The kind of walk you take when sitting still feels like suffocation. The air was crisp. The sky a pale washed-out blue. Children's laughter echoed from the playground down the street. I passed a bookstore with a window display of self-help bestsellers. Boundaries, one cover read. The irony made me smile. I stopped at the corner cafe and ordered an iced chai. The barista asked how my day was going. I almost lied. Almost said fine. But instead I said asterisk, asterisk. It's changing. Asterisk, asterisk. She smiled like she understood. Maybe she did. Back at home, I opened my laptop again. This time not for proof. Not for records. but to begin a different kind of file. A list. Not of what they owed me, but of what I was reclaiming. My time. My voice. My boundaries. My peace. Asterisk. Asterisk. I named the document Return to Self. Asterisk. Then I opened my inbox. Typed a short message to my accountant. Asterisk. Can we start separating the business accounts from any shared family ties? I'd like a clean structure moving forward. Asterisk. Then another email to my therapist. Asterisk. I'd like to restart sessions, weekly if possible. Asterisk. I hit send. For the first time in days, my heart didn't feel heavy. It felt alert. Aware. That evening, Jenna texted. Asterisk. That was harsh, Lauren. You embarrassed Mom. Don't expect us to clean up your bitterness. Asterisk. No apology. Just blame. I stared at the screen for a moment, then archived the message without replying, then muted her permanently. Mom sent a heart emoji. Nothing more. I didn't respond. Some silences are answers. I made myself dinner: roasted salmon, lemon asparagus. Lit a candle just for me. Played jazz, poured a glass of red. At the table, I didn't check my phone. Didn't think about how they were spinning the story. Didn't imagine their faces, their reactions, their justifications. They no longer lived in my mind rent-free. They had been evicting me for years. I had simply delayed moving out. Until now. After I finished eating, I cleaned the kitchen. Put on a movie. Laughed once. Then paused it halfway just to sit in silence. Not the silence of loneliness, but the kind that feels earned. Chosen. The kind that tells you asterisk. You're finally alone in the best possible way. Asterisk. By midnight, I crawled into bed. No lingering tension. No urge to check if I was still muted in the group chat. No desire to prove anything. Just one truth, echoing gently. I had never been the problem. Asterisk. They just never knew how to handle a woman who knew her worth. A week passed. No messages, no calls, just silence. Not the aching kind from before. This was different, clean, deliberate. A boundary that hummed like a quiet engine. I didn't check the family group chat anymore. Didn't wonder what was being said. Whatever noise remained, it wasn't mine to hear. On Tuesday, Marcus called. I let it ring. Twice. A long pause between each vibration on the counter. I didn't want to pick up. Didn't want to invite more disappointment into a space I had just cleared. But then I remembered his eyes. The way he had looked at me that night, not confused, not defensive, just aware. I hit play on his voicemail. Hey Lauren. I've been thinking about what you said. What you shared. I'm sorry. I should have spoken up. I didn't realize how much you were holding. You didn't deserve any of it. I hope we can talk when you're ready. His voice cracked on sorry. It surprised me how even a small apology could sound so heavy. I replayed it. Not for validation. Just to make sure I heard him right. Apologies can't undo years. But they can mark a shift. I texted back, asterisk, thank you. I'm still processing. But I heard you. Asterisk. That was enough. No explanation. No expectation. The rest of them, still silent. I stopped hoping. And strangely, I didn't feel hollow. I felt solid. Like I had finally stepped out of a fog and realized how long I'd been breathing secondhand air. I started cleaning the apartment not out of anxiety but intention. Dusted every corner. Wiped the baseboards. Emptied drawers that hadn't seen daylight in years. I gathered old clothes. Blouses that clung too tightly. Pants that made me hold in my breath. Outfits I wore to be palatable. I folded them gently. Placed them in a donation bag. Let them go. Then lit a candle, lemon balm, and cedar. Soft grounding. Opened a new journal. And on the first page in ink that flowed like relief I wrote, ****, I am done performing. Done rescuing, done apologizing for growing. ****. Then I closed the cover. And exhaled like I meant it. I started waking up earlier. Not out of anxiety, but clarity. There was no one to text me requests at 7 a.m. No subtle guilt from Mom. No vague emergencies from Jenna. Just stillness. The kind that once felt like punishment now felt like freedom. Each morning I lit the same candle. Poured coffee into the mug that said, "Still standing," let the first few sips settle into me like armor. I kept the journal close. Wrote in it every night just a few lines. Not stories, not explanations. Just truths. ****. They didn't protect me. I kept showing up for people who never showed up for me. I was never too much. I was simply surrounded by too little. ****. Some sentences made my hand tremble. Some made me pause, breathe, and write them again slower. I wasn't writing to let go. I was writing to remember. To stop rewriting the past into something softer just because it hurt. The memories came back in pieces. Small, sharp. Jenna borrowing my blouse and returning it stained. Mom telling me, "You're just stronger, honey," every time I cried quietly in the hallway. Mike skipping my birthday brunch but posting photos from Jenna's lunch 2 days later. Each moment tiny. But stacked together they formed a weight that bent me for years. And now I was unbending. One night I pulled out my recipe binder, the one I used for event menus, client tastings, and themed dinners. Each page was handwritten, carefully labeled. It was my archive of care. For other people. But as I flipped through the pages, I realized there was almost nothing in there I'd made just for me. I closed it. Saturday back. Then walked to the kitchen and cooked my own dinner without a schedule, without a request, without anyone waiting. Just me. And the sound of olive oil crackling in a pan. It felt sacred. Like taking my hands back from a world that only knew how to grab. That night, I didn't eat on the couch. I set the table. Real plate, cloth napkin. Candle lit. A seat finally taken by someone who belonged there. The next weekend, I didn't answer the phone. Mom called once. Then again. I let it ring. There was no voicemail. Just her name, then silence. I didn't need to hear what she'd say. I already knew the shape of her voice when it carried disappointment. When it asked for softness after offering none. I wasn't angry anymore. Just emptied of the need to explain myself to people committed to misunderstanding me. Instead, I watered the plants. All of them. Each leaf wiped gently, each stem rotated toward the light. I dusted the picture frames, even the ones I hadn't touched since moving in. There was a photo of me at a client's baby shower. I had planned everything. Jenna was in that photo too, holding a glass of champagne glowing. I wasn't even centered in the frame. I was the one adjusting the tablecloth. I took the photo out. Slid it into a drawer. Maybe I'd look at it again someday. Maybe not. That afternoon, I sat down and made a different list. Not what I'd lost, but what I'd learned. ****. I learned that being needed isn't the same as being loved. That loyalty without reciprocity is just quiet erosion. That forgiveness doesn't mean returning to the fire that burned you. I had spent years turning myself into shelter, but no one ever asked if the roof was leaking over me. They just stayed dry and walked away when it crumbled. And now I was rebuilding. Not to prove anything, not to get back in, but to finally live somewhere I was allowed to be whole. By the time the sun dipped behind the buildings, I stood by the window with a cup of tea. Steam rose gently. My reflection looked steady. Not healed yet, but no longer breaking. Some people get closure in dramatic moments. A confrontation, a revelation. Mine came in small things. The sound of a kettle boiling. The absence of panic. The knowing that I no longer had to wait to be chosen. I had already chosen myself. It started with a folder. Then it turned into a drawer. By the end of the week, I had a full box labeled documentation. Inside, printed receipts, bank transfers, screenshots, a copy of the police report neatly stapled, a note I wrote to myself. Asterisk asterisk. For when they say it never happened. Asterisk asterisk. I didn't know exactly what I was building, but I knew I needed it. A record. A boundary made real. Proof that I wasn't being dramatic. That silence doesn't erase what receipts remember. I spent hours sorting things by year, by category, by name. Jenna had a tab of her own. So did Mike. So did Mom. I felt clinical, detached. But every time my hands shook, I paused, breathed, reminded myself this wasn't about revenge. It was about recognition. There's a difference between letting go and pretending it didn't happen. And I had spent too many years pretending. I began scanning everything, backing it up to a flash drive, then to the cloud. Labeled each folder with calm precision. Asterisk, asterisk, emotional labor. Asterisk, 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 financial burden. Asterisk, 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 voicemails and silence. Asterisk, asterisk. Sometimes I'd open one of Jenna's texts mid-scan and just stare. Asterisk, asterisk. Hey, can you Venmo me like $60? Just until Friday. Asterisk, asterisk. Asterisk, asterisk. You're so organized, I bet you don't even notice what you give. Asterisk, asterisk. The last one hit me. I had always noticed. I just didn't think I had permission to say no. I closed the file, kept scanning. I also started recording voice memos. Late at night in bed. Short thoughts, whispers of memory. Asterisk. Asterisk. She never apologized for using my name. He laughed when I asked about the missing check. They acted like it was my role to absorb everything. Asterisk. Asterisk. It felt strange at first. Talking into the dark, but soon it felt like medicine. The kind that doesn't taste good but works. I didn't plan to share them. Not yet. But they existed now. Somewhere outside my body. And that felt like a small kind of justice. On Thursday, I met with my lawyer. Her office was tucked into a converted Victorian just off Colfax, the kind of place with creaky floors and lemon water in glass pitchers. Her name was Danielle. Sharp eyes. Soft voice. She wore pearl earrings and never rushed her sentences. I liked that. We sat in a room that smelled faintly of pine and toner. I slid the folder across the table. This is everything, I said. Every transfer, every lie, every time they made me small. She didn't blink. She opened the folder, flipped slowly, nodded as she read. How do you want to proceed? She asked. That question sat between us like a loaded scale. I don't want a lawsuit, I said, not unless they make me. But I want clarity. I want protection. I want this documented. Danielle nodded. We can formalize the record. Build a statement of financial separation. It won't erase what's done, but it sets the tone moving forward. I felt something in my chest loosen. Do you want to send a letter? She asked. I paused. Number. Not yet. I want the power to decide when this ends. Danielle gave a small smile. That too is a form of justice. We set a date for finalization. I left the folder with her. When I walked back outside, the wind hit different. Cool. Firm. Not against me, but with me. I wasn't hiding anymore. I was documenting. Declaring. At home I made tea. Opened the window. Let the sound of traffic hum behind me like background music. I thought about every time Mom said, "Just let it go," and how those 4 words always meant let them off the hook. I wasn't angry now. I was awake. That's a more dangerous kind of power. It's the kind that doesn't yell. It moves. Quietly, efficiently. Like ink through paper. That night, I printed a new label for the final folder. Asterisk, asterisk. Not owed accounted for. Asterisk, asterisk. Then I slid it into the fireproof box under my bed. Not because I was afraid of flames, but because I was no longer willing to let the truth go up in smoke. The next morning, I found myself staring at my calendar. The squares were full. Client meetings. Site visits. Menu tastings. Life continued even when your world cracked. But I noticed something. In every block of time I had left myself out. Not 1 hour labeled rest. Not a single line that said, check in with yourself. I clicked into the next Monday at 3 p.m. and typed 2 words. Asterisk, asterisk. Hold space. Asterisk, asterisk. I didn't know what it meant yet, but I knew I needed it. That afternoon, I sat down and wrote letters. Not to them. To me. From the version of myself who stayed quiet for too long. Asterisk, asterisk. You did everything right. Their failure to love you isn't yours to fix. Asterisk, asterisk. From the version of me who used to think survival was love. Asterisk, asterisk. You were never hard to love, you were just surrounded by people who didn't know how. Asterisk, asterisk. From the version who is just now beginning. Asterisk, asterisk. Start again. This time for you. Asterisk, asterisk. I folded the letters and slipped them into the pages of my journal. Small anchors. In case the waves came back. At sunset, I walked to the park near my apartment. Saturday on the bench under the elm tree. The air smelled like grass and dusk. Children played. Dogs barked. Someone strummed a guitar from a porch nearby. Normal life. Uninterrupted. And for the first time, I didn't feel like a ghost walking through it. I felt returned. To myself. To the seat I had given away so many times. The quiet inside me no longer a warning. It was readiness. I didn't know what would happen next. Whether Mom would call again. Whether Jenna would retaliate. Whether silence would remain my inheritance. But I knew this. I had records. I had clarity. I had choice. Not out of spite, but because I had stopped asking for permission to protect my own peace. That night, I wrote a final note in the journal. The one I would keep at the front. Asterisk. Asterisk. Justice doesn't always roar. Sometimes it just refuses to bow again. Asterisk. Asterisk. Have you ever protected someone at the cost of yourself? When is it time to stop being the strong one and start being the free one? What would justice look like if it were quiet but absolute? It started with a folder. Then it became a decision. One I made alone on a rainy Sunday morning while slicing an orange at my kitchen counter. The juice ran down my wrist as I stood there in silence, letting the weight of choice settle into my bones. I wasn't going back. Not to the version of me who waited, who stayed silent, who believed that being good would eventually be enough. It wasn't. And now that I knew that the only question left was what to do with everything I'd gathered, I made a list. 2 columns. One labeled asterisk, asterisk, justice. Asterisk, asterisk. One labeled asterisk, asterisk. Closure, asterisk, asterisk. I didn't need revenge. Not the kind that exploded. Not the kind that made me feel ashamed later. I needed clean air. A cleared field, a future that wasn't built on denial. So I planned. First, financial separation. I scheduled the meeting with Danielle. Formalize all records. Draft letters for future boundaries. No more silent generosity. No more bailing out. If they needed help, they could call each other. Second, the trust. It had been set up 5 years ago when my business hit its first major milestone. A contingency account under my name for business growth and, ironically, family emergencies. At the time, I thought I was doing the responsible thing. Now I saw it clearly. I had been cushioning them, enabling them. That ends now. I called the bank. Spoke with a representative named Alicia. She wore glasses, I imagined. Sounded like someone who took her job seriously. I'd like to reassign the beneficiary and remove access from all secondary parties, I said. She asked me to verify names. I listed them one by one. She paused after the last one. Ma'am, just confirming, are you removing all family members from this structure? I smiled. Yes. It's time I structure this around my future. Not theirs. She nodded through the phone. I'll send the paperwork this afternoon. Third, the final communication. Not an email. Not a group chat message. A document. Clear, simple, with language they couldn't twist. A formal statement signed and dated to be handed, not sent. I didn't need their permission to protect my peace. But I would make sure they saw in black and white that my silence was never weakness. It was warning. That night, I stayed up drafting the statement. Not a letter, not a plea, just truth. Laid out plainly. I listed the total amount of financial support I had provided, broken down by year, by event, by name. Then I included the police report reference number, the credit card company's acknowledgement, the timeline of charges Jenna made under my identity. I attached scanned copies of everything, no commentary, no bitterness. Just evidence. Undeniable, unshakable. At the end, I added one paragraph. Asterisk. Asterisk. This document is not a request for reconciliation. It is a boundary. A finalization. You are no longer entitled to my resources, my labor, or my silence. Asterisk. Asterisk. I signed it. Date stamped it. Made 3 printed copies. One for Danielle, one for the file, and one for that night. Because I had decided something else, I wasn't going to mail it. I would deliver it in person, calmly, clearly, and without ceremony. If they wanted to see what dignity looked like, they could witness it walking out the door. I folded the letter and slipped it into a navy envelope, the kind I used for wedding invites. Not out of pettiness, out of precision. I believed in details. The next morning, I chose my outfit carefully. Not flashy, not understated. A tailored blazer, navy. Pressed trousers. Clean hair, lipstick soft but certain. I wasn't dressing for them. I was dressing for the version of me who always felt invisible. She deserved to be seen now. Fully. powerfully. I put the envelope in my bag. Check the time. 6:42 p.m. I'd told them I'd come at 7:00. The street was quiet as I pulled up. Their porch light was on again. I rang the doorbell once. Jenna answered. She looked surprised, but not sorry. Behind her I could hear voices. Clinking glass. Laughter. Another dinner. I held the envelope up. "This is for all of you," I said. She took it like it burned her fingers. I didn't wait. I turned. Walked down the steps. Heels clicking sharp and even. I didn't need a confrontation. I needed the closure of my own choosing. And I had just delivered it. I didn't look back. Not at the porch. Not at Jenna's face. Not at the window where I knew someone would be watching. Some exits don't need witnesses. Just resolve. In the car, I sat for a moment. Hands on the steering wheel, breathing steady. My pulse didn't race. No tears welled, only stillness. I had made my delivery. I had spoken not with anger but with finality. The envelope was in their hands now. Let them decide how they would carry the truth. Back home, I placed my keys in the bowl by the door. Slipped off my shoes, hung the blazer back in the closet. It smelled faintly of rosemary from the candle I had lit before I left. Grounding, earthy. I opened my laptop and checked the folder marked Legacy. Inside business plans, future ideas, proposals I hadn't touched in over a year. Because I had been too distracted. Too drained, too consumed with holding up the people who never noticed if I fell. Now it was time to build. Not to prove, but to begin. I opened a blank document and typed 3 words. The Marion Fund. Asterisk, asterisk. Named after my grandmother. The only woman who ever told me I was more than what I gave. The fund would support women excluded from family assets. Women erased from wills, from tables, from legacy. Women like me. I would seed it with the same trust I had once set aside for family. Except now I was choosing a new definition of family. Women who helped each other rise. Not drag each other down. I smiled as I typed. Outlined the first phase. Grants. Mentorship. Workshops in financial literacy and personal boundary building. No more dinners. No more group chats. No more waiting for a seat at their table. I was building my own. At 9:37 p.m. my phone buzzed. A message from Jenna. Asterisk. Asterisk. You're really doing this. You're seriously cutting us off. Asterisk. Asterisk. I didn't respond. Because it wasn't a question. It was a reaction. And I had already given enough of myself to reactions. Instead, I typed one final line in my journal. Asterisk. Asterisk. They taught me to serve. I taught myself to stop. Asterisk. Asterisk. Then I closed the book. And just as I reached for the lamp to turn out the light, my phone buzzed again. This time from an unknown number. A message that simply read, asterisk, asterisk, Lauren. What exactly is the Marion Fund, asterisk, asterisk? I stared at the screen and felt something shift. They had just realized I wasn't coming back. But I wasn't disappearing either. I was becoming unavoidable. The next morning, my inbox was full. Subject lines like asterisk, asterisk. Need to talk. Can we clarify what is this about, asterisk, asterisk? All from people who had once ignored me for months at a time. Now suddenly I was the center of attention. Funny how clarity pulls people in louder than kindness ever did. I didn't open them right away. I made breakfast. eggs, avocado toast. Hot coffee in a ceramic mug that read, "She remembered who she was." Asterisk. Then I sat at my desk, opened each message slowly. Jenna had forwarded the document to everyone, of course. The tone of the emails shifted depending on the sender. Mike's was short. Asterisk, asterisk. I didn't know about half of this. If true, it should have been discussed privately. Asterisk, asterisk. If true. Asterisk. Of course. Mom's was longer, full of soft guilt. Asterisk, asterisk. I'm heartbroken. I didn't realize you were keeping score. You've always been so capable, honey. Asterisk, asterisk. Capable. A word that sounds like a compliment but is really an excuse. Capable means, we never checked on you because we assumed you'd survive. Asterisk. Jenna's was the only one that didn't hide behind tone. Asterisk. Asterisk. You humiliated me. You made us look awful. I hope you're proud of yourself. Asterisk. Asterisk. And for the first time I was. Not because she was hurt, but because I was no longer carrying it for her. I didn't respond to any of them. Instead, I emailed Danielle. Asterisk, asterisk. Please move forward with the fund registration. I'll send the transfer today. Asterisk. Asterisk. Then, I logged off. That afternoon, I went to the printer downtown. Had the Marion Fund mission statement printed on textured cardstock. Cream background. Black serif font. Simple, clear. I had 50 copies made. On the way home, I stopped by a cafe I used to avoid because Jenna loved it. I ordered my favorite drink without flinching. The barista asked my name for the order. Lauren, I said. Then added Whitmore. Full, please. I hadn't used my last name in years, not outside of documents. But it sounded right now. Like returning to a room I had built but never entered. 2 days later, Marcus called again. This time, I answered. Lauren, he said, exhaling like he'd been holding it in. They're all talking. Scrambling, really. No one knows what to do. I waited. He continued. They're planning a dinner. To talk things out. But it's not for you, it's about saving face. I almost laughed. Of course it was. They still don't get it, he said quietly. I know, I replied, and I've stopped expecting them to. There was a pause. Would you come to mine instead? His voice lowered. A few cousins. Some friends. People who actually saw what you did and want to help. That word, help. Asterisk. Not fix. Not judge. Not ask for more. Just show up. I said yes. 3 nights later, I walked into Marcus's backyard. String lights hung from the fence. A long wooden table stretched beneath the trees. 10 people sat waiting, women I remembered from childhood birthdays, a few men from weddings I'd worked, a woman I didn't know but who nodded at me like she did. Marcus stood. He handed me a glass of wine. Tell them, he said, what you're building. So I did. I spoke slowly, clearly. About the Marion Fund. About who it was for. Why it existed. What it meant. I watched their faces shift. Not in shock, but in resonance. One woman, Cynthia, I think, reached for my hand. My sister stole my share of our mother's estate, she whispered. No one believed me. Until now I thought I was crazy. Another woman nodded. I signed away everything to keep the peace. And I still didn't get invited to Thanksgiving. I didn't cry. Not because I wasn't moved, but because their stories weren't breaking me. They were building me. They were proof that what had happened to me wasn't an isolated cruelty. It was a pattern. A quiet epidemic of women taught to stay silent in the name of harmony. I stood taller, spoke clearer. When I finished, someone clapped. Then another, then all of them. And it wasn't applause for drama. It was recognition. Afterward, a young woman with short hair approached me. She looked no older than 22. "Do you need help with your social media?" she asked shyly. "I study digital design. I'd love to volunteer." I smiled. Not the polite kind. The kind that starts in your chest. "Yes," I said. "I think it's time the world hears what we've been too polite to say." The story spread faster than I expected. Not viral. Not scandalous. Just whispered. From one woman to another. 3 days after the backyard gathering, I received an email from a community center director. Subject * grant partnership proposal. *. 2 days later, an invitation to speak at a panel on financial trauma. Then a podcast request. Then a message from someone at the local news. But what surprised me most was the voicemail from Mike. "Lauren," he said, voice flat. I read the statement again. "This thing, it's serious. You've made your point. But if you go public, we all go down with you." I played it twice. Then saved it. Then forwarded it to Danielle. He thought this was revenge. He still didn't understand. This wasn't about taking anyone down, it was about finally standing up. That night, I updated the Marian Fund website. Simple homepage. A photo of my grandmother's hands planting marigolds in a cracked terracotta pot. Beneath it, one sentence. ****. We're not your afterthought. ****. Donations started coming in. Small, quiet, but consistent. Each one carried a note. ****. For my daughter, may she never shrink herself like I did. ****. Because I was erased, but I'm still here. ****. For all the women who stayed too long at tables that fed them nothing. ****. It wasn't the money that moved me. It was the witnessing. One evening, I walked past the Haven, the restaurant where it all fractured. I paused. Inside, a birthday party was in full swing. Laughter. Candlelight. Long tables and clinking glasses. And then I saw them. Yenna, Mom, Mike, at the same corner table. Like nothing had ever happened. Except this time, my name wasn't even mentioned. I didn't expect it to be. But it still landed sharp and final. They had rewritten the story. But I had published the truth. I stood there a moment longer, then turned away. As I walked, my phone buzzed. A text. Unknown number. Just a screenshot. It was from Jenna's photography business account. Caption, ****. Due to recent developments, we regret to announce a pause in operations. ****. No apology. No ownership, just retreat. But even silence has a shadow. Because when you build a legacy on omission, the truth doesn't knock. It arrives holding receipts. 6 months later, I bought the cabin. It sat on 2 acres outside Estes Park, old pine slate roof, a porch wide enough to hold silence. There were no neighbors close enough to hear your thoughts. Just trees, birdsong, and wind that moved like breath. The first time I stepped inside, it smelled like cedar and dust. There was a fireplace, a writing desk, and windows facing east. Morning light spilled across the wooden floors like something holy. I didn't ask anyone what they thought. Didn't explain why I chose it. It was mine, fully. Finally. I moved slowly those first weeks, unpacking with intention. Each object placed not for function but memory. A framed photo of my grandmother in her garden. My still-standing mug chipped but faithful. The folder Danielle returned sealed tucked into a drawer I didn't plan to open often. I built routines. Not for productivity. For presence. Coffee on the porch at 7:00. Walks down the gravel path just before dusk. Letters to women I'd never met but somehow already knew. The Marion Fund grew. We launched a mentorship circle, 8 women in the first group. 2 had walked out of marriages. 3 were fighting for estate rights. 1 was 24 and had just been cut from a trust after coming out. We met monthly. Virtually. Sometimes in person. We cried. We laughed. We rewrote definitions together. Family, one woman said, is who remembers you when you're not useful. I wrote that down, then stitched it into our mission statement. On the 1-year anniversary, I hosted a quiet gathering. Just 12 women. In the cabin. No agenda. Just space. They brought candles, scarves, books. One brought honey from her farm. Another read a poem she wrote in the car. When the fire died down and the room fell into hush, I stood. I didn't have a speech. I just said, asterisk. Asterisk. We are not what they forgot, we are what we remembered. Asterisk. Asterisk. And no one clapped. They didn't need to. They just looked at me, not with sympathy. Not with pity. With recognition. And I finally felt what I had been reaching for all my life. Not applause, but arrival. I started sleeping through the night again. Not because everything had healed, but because I had stopped negotiating with the pain. Some things don't close neatly. Some grief doesn't end. It softens. It learns how to live beside you. In the cabin, I made space for all of it. There was a chair in the corner by the fireplace, just mine. I'd sit there each morning with a blanket over my legs, reading letters from women across the country. Some signed their names. Some didn't. All of them said some version of the same thing. Asterisk, asterisk. I thought I was the only one. Asterisk, asterisk. That sentence had become a kind of tether. A red thread tying strangers together. I kept each note in a linen box on my bookshelf. Next to it a journal labeled, Field Notes on Resilience. Asterisk. It wasn't for sale, wasn't public. Just mine. It held reflections, lessons, things I wanted to tell the younger version of me who once folded herself so small she forgot she could stand. Asterisk. Asterisk. Not everyone deserves access to your strength. Being the bigger person doesn't mean staying silent forever. Forgiveness and boundaries are not opposites, they are sisters. Asterisk. Asterisk. One day in late fall, I got a letter from Marcus. Handwritten. He told me he'd stepped away from the family business, that he'd donated to the fund, that he was in therapy now, unlearning what he called inherited silence. There was a photo inside. Him standing in front of a community food bank he helped renovate. Under it he wrote, asterisk, asterisk. You taught me that quiet doesn't have to mean absent. Asterisk. Asterisk. I read it 3 times, then slid it into the back of the journal. That night the sky turned lavender just before dark. I stood outside on the porch with my hands around a warm mug. No phone, no noise, just the sound of pine needles shifting in the wind. I wasn't waiting for their apology anymore. Because something better had arrived, a life that no longer needed their permission to feel full. And a self I could finally trust not to betray me for the sake of keeping peace. One afternoon in spring, I received a message request on Instagram. The profile name was unfamiliar. but the message was short. Asterisk. Asterisk. My mother followed your story. She passed last week. But before she did, she told me, find the woman with the fund. She knows how to survive without becoming bitter. Asterisk. Asterisk. I read it twice. Then stared at the screen for a long time. Some seeds take root in soil we'll never see. And still they grow. That day I added a new section to the Marian Fund website. It wasn't about donations, it wasn't about me. It was a space titled asterisk asterisk unwritten wills. Asterisk asterisk. A place where women could leave notes to themselves, to their daughters, to the next woman walking away from a table she no longer belongs at. We moderated the space, but rarely edited. Some notes were raw, some were funny, some were just one sentence long. Asterisk. Asterisk. I stayed too long, but I still walked out. My silence was loyalty. Their silence was strategy. She didn't get the last word. I just stopped listening. Asterisk. Asterisk. It became the most visited page on the site, not because it was flashy, but because it told the truth. Unfiltered, unapologetic. Like we had learned to be. By summer, I hosted the first in-person retreat. 30 women, 2 days, no panels, just stories. Just sitting in circles and saying what had once been unspeakable. During the closing session, a woman stood up. Silver hair. Sharp shoulders. Eyes like rain. She said, asterisk, asterisk. When my family cut me out of the will, I thought I died. But then I realized I had been living like a ghost for years. What you've built here isn't just a fund. It's a resurrection. Asterisk, asterisk. I didn't have words. Just a nod. Just tears that didn't sting, only warmed. When the retreat ended, I stayed back to clean up. Someone had left a note on the table. It read, asterisk. Asterisk. Justice can be quiet, but it is never weak. Asterisk. Asterisk. I folded it slowly, slipped it into my pocket, and walked out onto the porch of the cabin where the sky was opening and everything ahead felt wide and mine. Have you ever had to choose between peace and silence? What would your unwritten will say? Where are you listening from? Share your story below. Asterisk, asterisk. Subscribe to Ian Reddit Story for more true stories about justice, healing, and closure after 40. Asterisk.